Reach for your phone in the middle of the night. A single tap and you banish the dark. Simple, right? But for our ancestors, the night wasn't an off switch. It was a raw, living world of predators and shadows. Have you ever wondered what the world was like before electricity turned the night into day? For our ancestors, the setting sun didn't mean bedtime. It meant a whole new world. Night was a time of danger. The shadows weren't just dark, they were home to predators. But humans had a secret weapon. Fire didn't just provide warmth, it was a wall of light. Gathered around the flames, the night became a social space, safe from the lurking dark. This was the birthplace of human connection. The firelight allowed us to talk, laugh, and plan. They weren't just surviving, they were telling stories, using shadows to bring myths to life. Those stories turned into lessons. They mapped the stars and recorded the habits of animals. When the fire died down, they slept in shifts, keeping a watchful eye for any trouble. The night wasn't an end to their day. It was the foundation of our modern human culture. Beyond survival and socializing, the night was a time for art and music. Rhythm likely played a huge role. Simple percussion connected the group in a primal way. Fire was also a tool for technology. They used controlled heat to harden wooden tools and weapons. Moving through the night required light. Torches allowed them to hunt or travel safely to a new location. Starting a fire wasn't as easy as flicking a switch. It took patience, friction, and skill. As the temperature dropped, managing body heat was crucial for survival. They were keen observers. They tracked the phases of the moon to understand the passage of time. On bright moonlit nights, the landscape was visible, allowing for hunting or navigation. The quiet of the night meant sound traveled further. Every snap of a twig held meaning.
And then
oral traditions were born in the firelight. Legends and histories were passed down verbally. The night was also a workshop. Artisans used the quiet hours for focused tasks like making tools. Mending clothes was essential. They used bone needles and sinew to prepare for the next day's cold. Personal items and symbolic objects were crafted, connecting them to their beliefs or spirit world. Sudden noises from the darkness would break the calm, requiring instant alertness from the group. Shadows cast by the fire were large and mysterious, perhaps inspiring the first art. The fire was the center of their universe after dark, providing both physical and psychological safety. Sharing food at the end of the day reinforced social bonds and ensured everyone was fed. Some moments were likely spent in quiet reflection or silent ritual under the vast night sky. Gazing into the coals might have been an ancient form of television, sparking imagination. As the night deepened, the only option left was rest, preparing for the dawn. The night was the first classroom. They studied the stars to understand the seasons. Patterns in the sky told them when the herds would migrate and when fruit would ripen. Rainy nights were tough. They had to learn to build shelters that could survive a storm. Caves became a sanctuary, offering a dry place to wait out the long, wet nights. Even after dark, there was work. Preparing food for the next morning was a nightly ritual. They were mastering materials, turning mud into containers to store food and water. Winter nights were a test of endurance, requiring constant fire management to survive. Nature was the greatest teacher. By watching other creatures, they learned building techniques. Safety was a team effort. They learned to rely on each other's senses in the deep dark. Knowledge was passed down. Elders taught the young how to handle fire safely. They learned to categorize the world, identifying which stones were best for tools. Water was essential, and the night was the time to prepare the next day's supplies. After a long day of gathering,
the night offered the only true time to rest muscles. The sounds of the wilderness at night were a language of their own, signaling danger or peace. Fiber arts were perfected by firelight, creating the ropes needed for hunting and building. Humor was a way to diffuse stress. Even in the ancient world, a good laugh was vital. They left their mark. The night allowed them to create art that declared, "We were here." It was also a time for solitude, a moment to think about one's place in the vast dark. Covering the fire in ashes kept the coals hot until morning, a vital survival skill. Survival meant balancing the need for fire, food, and sleep.
Over generations, the night became a time to plan. They mapped their world, one stone at a time. Music wasn't just entertainment, it was a language, a way to express things words couldn't reach. They learned to manipulate light and reflection, curiosity leading them to early scientific discovery. The stars became their calendar. Every night, they refined their knowledge of the passing year. Maintenance was key. A sharp tool meant a successful hunt the next morning. Hospitality was a survival strategy. Sharing warmth and resources kept the group alive. Art was a form of memory. By drawing animals, they shared vital knowledge about the hunt. Fear was natural, but it taught them to be observant and cautious in the deep dark. They weren't alone. Having someone to watch your back made the night feel much shorter. They learned to distinguish safety from poison, turning the night into an educational session. They utilized every hour. Productive labor by the fire turned simple materials into tools. The moon's cycles governed their lives, dictating the best times to travel and hunt. Training the next generation was a nightly priority,
Now throw it.
ensuring
Like
their
this?
survival for years to come. Fire management was an art. Too little and you're cold. Too much and you're exposed. Every night was a reflection on the day's events, processing triumphs and near misses. In the total silence, their hearing became their most sensitive tool for detecting predators. Patience was a virtue learned in the dark. Achieving a perfect edge took hours of focus. They found peace in the cycle of the fire, trusting that the sun would always return. The night was a bridge between yesterday's struggle and tomorrow's possibilities. Ancient humans didn't fear the night. They tamed it, and in doing so, they changed the world.